Every single aspect of Red Dead Redemption 2 has been executed above and beyond what players can expect from even the most polished games already on shelves. Once again, Rockstar has shown the industry that they could be doing more and doing it better. Here's what other games can learn from Red Dead Redemption 2. This feels like a no-brainer for many open-world games, and yet it remains a rare thing to see. If you want to replay a mission in most other games, hopefully you've got a save file from right before it happened, because otherwise, you're only catching that mission on your next playthrough or on YouTube. Red Dead 2, on the other hand, has a handy menu that allows you to jump to any previous mission, replay it, and go about your merry way again afterwards. More than that, however, it also allows for something open-world titles desperately needed, which is a way to replay the game's tutorial levels. For a game as complex as Red Dead Redemption 2, the ability to get a refresher course on cue is a real godsend. Your average open world can be a beautiful place, but it's a little more difficult to enjoy when you also have a life bar, a mini-map, a special ability gauge, a notoriety bar, your money, an icon for your weapons, and instructions for your next mission, all vying for screen space. A few games let you minimize these screen elements, but then that makes navigating the world a challenge. Red Dead 2, on the other hand, actively encourages gathering all the information a player could ever need from their environment alone, and allows you to even turn off the mini-map if you want. You'll still want to check the map occasionally for a good idea of where you'll be headed, but smoke coming from homesteads, road signs pointing the way to the next town, and even stopping and asking NPCs for directions will get you where you're going.
Keep riding, Morgan! Don't have much choice!
In addition, being able to strip away the information on screen and just live your life out in the West is a fascinating and immersive experience, unlike anything being done at this level of production. The world of Red Dead 2 is not just a stunning place filled with gorgeous sunlight, blue skies, and green trees, but something that feels like a real place. It's never quite clear what you can walk through or what kind of danger to expect over the next ridge. In other games, when you see a wide open space hidden away in the woods or a castle off in the distance, you know that eventually a mission will take you there and something important will happen. But nothing in Red Dead 2 feels like it's there for Arthur Morgan's benefit. It's all just another part of the world that he might get to eventually, if he feels like it. Even the best open-world games have a tendency to make big, beautiful, spacious worlds with only barely functional people in them. As detailed and intricate as your average Assassin's Creed title is, your level of interaction with anyone who isn't directly tied to a mission is limited to bumping into them, and maybe making them drop their stuff. Not so in Red Dead 2. Even if it's just Arthur tipping his hat to a passing stranger, there's enough detail in every human being you meet in your travels to hint at an inner life, where they're going, where they've been, and their personality.
Think I'll have another drink, and then go see your wife.
After a few minutes, you start to think twice about randomly shooting strangers. You're careful, considered, and even if you decide to screw with someone's day and antagonize them, that NPC shooting you dead or starting a fight is always on the table. The people make Red Dead's Wild West feel alive more than 100 highly detailed log cabins ever could.
What's your problem, partner? Good to see you. Yeah, you with the squinty eyes and the big old head and the women's breeches. You.
A major ongoing problem with open-world design is that developers make it abundantly clear which tasks will advance the story and get the player closer to being done with the game, and which ones are less important. It's possibly the biggest problem with open-world titles these days, because many developers haven't improved their ability to fill ever larger spaces with anything truly meaningful or fun to do. If story missions are the meat, side quests and other activities are the fat. Red Dead 2's solution to that problem is making a game where every marked mission is worthwhile, and none are given more or less priority to anyone except the players themselves. If you want to ignore certain characters' quests until the last minute, you can, and the story will keep advancing. There's no friendship meter that suffers, there's just the ability for Arthur Morgan to live the outlaw life as he sees fit for the good of his people. What's driving the narrative isn't a sense of completionism so much as actual investment in the characters. The world isn't full of content, but substance. Fast travel isn't just handed to you in Red Dead 2. It involves two specific upgrades, neither of which are particularly cheap, especially in the early parts of the game. So unless you've managed to catch a ride or found yourself on a mission where you bring your horse, there are times where you'll find yourself with a hike on your hands. And yet the magical thing about Red Dead 2 is how little you end up minding a long walk. That's a shift from how most games design around an open world, which is about getting players from one quest to another. Wandering the world on foot effort usually doesn't serve a purpose, and what little there is to do doesn't benefit the player except in the most rudimentary way. In Red Dead 2, by contrast, wandering through the woods almost always gives you something new to discover. Virtually every open-world game operates the same. Soldiers will come after you, or the cops put out a bulletin, but all it usually takes is a trip to Pay and Spray or a tall tower and life goes on as normal.
Care to dance?
Men, we need backup, now!
All units, we have reports of violence. Attention all units, target escaped. Stay alert.
It works because it's a game, and you want an easy get-out-of-jail-free card for these instances. But then there's Red Dead 2, which does still allow you to pay off your bounty at post offices, but it only lets the game forgive the crime. It doesn't forget. Kill a local lawman or rob a store, and townsfolk will spit at your feet. Store owners will give you side-eye when you walk in their store, and people scurry away from you on sight.
Son of a bitch.
The world remembers your dirty deeds, which adds just the perfect dollop of tension and consideration to every little crime you intend to commit. More than just making the player careful, it means whether you intend to cause chaos in it or not, you respect the game's world all the more. Historically, gamers are used to resources simply being there, where guns always have enough bullets, cars are disposable, and horses spawn out of nowhere. These kind of game worlds are completely yours to use how you wish. On the other hand, Red Dead 2 treats every resource, every animal, every person, and every plot of land with importance. Something to be considered, maintained, and respected if you expect to get anywhere. Guns must be cleaned, horses brushed and fed, your gang must get their cut of your profits. Most importantly, Arthur himself should probably bathe, sleep, and eat. Observe this scintillating gameplay. Red Dead 2 is less about amassing wealth and power, and more about the tiny moments of figuring out how to wield and conserve it for your own good and the good of others. As such, nothing in the game feels truly disposable. You appreciate every tiny scrap you pick up, and the game has a use for it. When you pick up a coffee cup in Fallout, it's trash. Pick it up in Red Dead, and it probably just bought you lunch. In most open-world titles, between the big action sequences and frivolous minigames, is a vast unexplored potential for different types of stories and activities. Not nearly enough games get creative about that, and the fact that side missions can virtually always be ignored means that no single activity can ever be so intriguing as to eclipse the main plot. In Red Dead Redemption 2, however, quests can have you hijacking a train, but they might also have you sucking the poison out of a poor man's snakebite, or giving a stranded farmer's wife a lift home. There is no ulterior motive to these tiny quests, no big twist or diabolical scheme at play. These are just things that happen in the world. More importantly, these quests usually never involve Arthur having to draw his gun. Arthur stops being a protagonist for just one moment and starts being a citizen, a participant in someone else's world. In AAA gaming, variety usually boils down to getting different weapons to earn kills with, especially in Rockstar's previous titles. But in Red Dead, variety in gameplay is truly diverse.
To be honest, if you lot hadn't been here, I probably would have robbed him.
Traveling is pretty much the cornerstone of any open-world title, but even as fun as getting around can be, it's still traveling. Red Dead's solution is twofold. The first-person mode from Grand Theft Auto 5 has returned, which doesn't just make combat easier and more immersive, but also makes navigating tight enclosed spaces and doors much easier. But what no other games have done is replicate Red Dead Redemption 2's cinematic mode. Long trips during a mission are a fact of life in the game, but cinematic mode allows you to truly sit back and enjoy the scenery in a variety of well-chosen panoramic vantage points, giving players a sense of where they are. If you're going to make a game this beautiful, you have to find a way to show it off, right? Just make sure you pay attention to where you're going. Above all else, Red Dead Redemption 2 is definitely not a game you should ever want to rush. Speedrunners are going to have a devil of a time trying to cut corners in this game, because it's not a game that's just trying to force its players into enjoying the sandbox, nor is it just trying to shove its story down their throats. Red Dead 2 is a game about patience, about the slowness of life unhampered by industrialization. It makes players take note of the details to not just do what's required, but participate in every facet of what's been built. Just spend the afternoon fishing if you want.
This is a great fishing spot.
Don't jinx it, kid.
Open world titles obviously build a digital landscape for players to experience, but the developers at Rockstar went even further by building a society and ecosystem for Red Dead Redemption 2. It demands that you engage in it entirely, from respecting the tiniest animal to causing the biggest explosion. Even when it's quiet and still, except for the sounds of crickets, there are no dead moments in Red Dead 2. There's only more of the game you haven't noticed yet.